Hey, you're watching Back of the Room with Matthew Gill for Punchline Magazine, here with Greg Fitzsimmons in beautiful Venice, California. We're here promoting Greg's new book, which is Dear Miss Fitzsimmons, Tales of Redemption from an Irish Mailbox. Here we are with the Irishman himself, Mr. Greg Fitzsimmons. Another Irishman, another Irishman.
The timing's great. The UPS guy just delivered 7 of them. It's the first time I've actually seen the book. And I got it, and I sat down in my living room, and I read the first chapter. And I got to tell you, I was like, I fucking did it. I wrote a book.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a cool feeling.
Yeah, I mean...
Am I the first person you've seen since this arrival?
Yeah.
His wife is not even here.
My wife has not seen the book. Me and you are the only ones that have seen it.
I'm sharing in this moment.
In 6 months, it may be the same. We'll see how the book sells.
I mean, when you put this book together, did you kind of see, like, it was almost putting together puzzle pieces to why you felt the way you felt, and why... Did it help you make sense of your life?
Oh, God. It was, without a doubt, the heaviest experience of my life. I mean, because when you go back to childhood, you know, you sit around with your friends, you shoot the shit, you tell stories about, yeah, my dad hit me once, you laugh about it. But when you're writing it, you got to go back to that event, and you got to sit with it for days as you write it out, and you think of the details, and emotionally you just... I mean, one after the other. It's like I spent 2 years of my life just dwelling. And then out of it, yeah, like you said, you start pulling meaning, you start piecing things together, and you say, oh, yeah, when my mother used to, you know, sneak us into movies and not paying, that was where I started realizing, oh, you're only supposed to follow the rules when you could get caught. Yeah. And whatever you can get away with is what you should. And so it started to fit into a pattern that went beyond my parents. It went back to, you know, I tried to tie together what it was like for people in Ireland under British rule. Yeah. I tried to tie together, you know, what it's like to be a, you know, adult child of an alcoholic, and a lot of the different traits that, you know, weren't just specific to me, but putting a context on my life. And I mean, look at me, I'm wearing a V-neck, I got a receding hairline, I'm in the my kid's playroom back here. You know, I'm not exactly James Dean.
If you're not familiar with Greg Fitzsimmons' work, it also is a great, you know, resource for stand-up comedy and talking about your journey and everything. So you wrote in your book, when I hear a comedian talk about how much they love the crowd and just enjoying people, making people laugh, they're dead to me.
Yeah.
Can you explain your position?
I just think it's so black and white to me. You know, people say, well, who's a good comedian? What's the definition of a good comedy and bad comedy? And it's obviously relative. Everyone's got their own definition. That's the great thing about stand-up. But for me, I look at it like you're either a comedian that, you know, looks at a crowd and says, what do these people want? And then you give it to them. Or you're a comedian that says, here's some shit that I think is weird or funny. Here's my take on comedy. And then you try to get good enough where you can connect that to a crowd of people. Right. They're seeing your point of view. You're not reflecting theirs.
Right. What was the tipping point for you where you felt like I can breathe a little bit?
Letterman was really, though, where I felt, I think personally, that was where I felt like I had credibility with myself. Yeah. And I felt like, you know, I still do have such huge respect for Letterman, and just the fact that I was 15 feet from him telling jokes blew my mind, and I think made me feel, like I'm in this business. And I'm going back, I've done Letterman like 4 or 5 times, and I'm going back to do it in a couple weeks. Nice. Actually, on the day the book comes out. And just as nervous as every other time. I mean, 20 years I've been doing stand-up. Completely nervous and obsessed with the Letterman set.
Can you talk about the first time? I know in the book you talked about, like, you know, you talking to your dad before going on stage and how emotional that was and all that.
Yeah, it was, my dad had died just a couple of years before the Letterman appearance. Actually, maybe 3-4 years. And I had a real hard time with his death because we were very close, and then we'd had a falling out about 6 months before he died. And I was trying to make peace with that. And I really would speak to him. It was a thing where anytime I was nervous in my life, like I was in this pool tournament in New York, and I won this 9-ball tournament. And when I was nervous, I would just talk to him, And so before I went on Letterman, I was standing backstage, and Biff Henderson comes over with his headset on, and he's like, okay, we're coming out of commercial, you're on in like 30 seconds. And it was just like, all right, Dad, let's go do this. I mean, that's all I was thinking about. I was thinking about my set. And then I went out there, and I just nailed it. I mean, I just hit every joke. And I walked off stage, and all the nervous energy and the anxiety, and I just started crying.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge crier, but I came off crying, and Faith Hill was going on next. And Biff's got her now. She turns around and just holds me.
Wow.
Just gave me a hug. And I'm going like, how did the greatest moment in the world just get a little bit better?
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Then he was talking to me.
Yeah.
Nice job, son. Get in there.
Get in there. Take a squeeze. Never gonna get back here.
It's your one shot. I know, look, we don't like country music, but get in that shit.
If it's the last and best performance of your life, what 5 comedians do you respect enough to have in the back of the room to see the best, dead or alive, the best set you ever do?
Wow. I don't think I'd want any of them. I feel like, the only thing that really fucks me up when I'm on stage is when there's comedians I respect in the back.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like good comedians, here's what they do. They watch you and they go, oh yeah, he's doing that thing. He's doing that thing where you talk about your girlfriend, but then you had, or oh yeah, he's that guy. He's doing that thing where you talk about therapy.
If you could be in the back of the room and watch your 5 favorite, dead or alive.
Are you switching the question, or
switching it up a little bit? Yeah.
David Tell.
Nice.
Louis C.K. Rich Jenny. Rick Shapiro. And Dead or Alive?
Dead or Alive.
Bill Hicks.
Okay. This is Matthew Gill for Back of the Room for Punchline Magazine. This is Greg Fitzsimmons. This is his first book.
I wrote a book.
He wrote a book, bitches. It's called Dear Mrs. Fitzsimmons, Tales of Redemption from the Irish Mailbox. It's coming out. Please go and get it.
Go get it. Pre-order it at Amazon. Go to fitzdog.com and get me on the list, people. Let's get me on that bestseller list.
Absolutely. Your website is...
fitzdog.com, and then there's a website for the book, dearmf.com.
Dearmf.com. So check it out. Also see him on David Letterman and A Town Near You.
Coming around. Go to the website for details. I am gonna whore this thing in every town in America.
Absolutely. Watch him whore himself out. And thank you so much for listening and watching, guys. Take care, Greg.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it.
Take care.